Hey everybody in the FFBE Global Facebook group. I'm back with this week's Ask an Old Mog video. This week I did not actually get any questions. I didn't see anything in the group right now that I felt like really needed a lot of questions that needed answering. And I think that one of the good things about that is that you guys are doing a really great job of answering questions for each other, which I think is great. But I wanted to go over something really basic with a current event going on that I think is useful for newer players, especially with a lot of resources that you can use to buy things in the exchange shop, as well as in particular the NBA ticket exchange to buy NBA units. Um, that you can use in a couple of different ways. I want to go over that a little bit. So, without further ado, here we are. And so, the question that I was just kind of thinking about as I was, looking at the posts in the group today and trying to think of what I wanted to talk about was just, there are so many things in the King Mog or the exchange shop usually for events, and I think it's good to think about, like, what are you going to prioritize if you can't get everything. If you're not going to sit here and farm the event over and over and over again, or if you can't get the points because you don't, or the currency because you don't have enough units to get the bonus points, whatever. There's lots of reasons why that might happen, but what should you prioritize? So just as somebody who has been playing the game for a long time, want to just kind of give you a little bit of feedback there on maybe some ways you might be able to do that. Here we are. So my opinion on this is that you should definitely get everything if you can. But here is where I would start if I was recommending a new player, or for myself, where I started out. The very first thing that I did before anything else was I grabbed the NV Awakenable 5-star exchange tickets, and I'm going to show you how you can use those. What units might be good to use those on. Excuse me, 1 second. Still got a little bit of my cold. There's a couple different ways you can think about, how you can use these tickets, and one of those is to focus on units that are going to give you STMRs that you might want or need, or to focus on units that you just want to awaken further. Like, let's say you really like a certain unit and you want to pump them up. There are some that you could do to pick those up, and then, or you can do what I did. You could focus on units that you don't have yet. Maybe that's not the most efficient thing, but if you're a kind of a collector and you just like want to have it like every unit and want to, like, whatever, just getting items and units and just use them for different things, that's where I went. So I didn't have any Cleome at all, and so I went ahead and used all five of them, or all of mine, on Cleome, which might not have been the most efficient way, but it was what I wanted to do, and I went for it. So yeah, definitely grab these. They are super super valuable. This is like so rare that they're just going to give us a bunch of fragments and STMRs and potentially TMRs too, for just for free. So this is super super useful. Definitely do not miss these. And then I would grab these 5-star select summon tickets. These are, I would say, more useful because if you have enough of them, you can get any unit you want that's on the list, rather than these being very limited. These are a little, they're more available than these are. So you definitely want these, pick them up, but these you can only be used on this specific instance. So grab these first, and then I would grab the items. These are event specific. They're not the best items in the game. This one is a two-handed sword with pretty good variance for its damage modifier. Has this bonus effect of beast and plant killer. Super useful. Anything with killers on it is good. Like I said, with even though it's not the best item in the game, 50% beast, 50% plant is super great. Especially on an item you could just throw on somebody. Now, plant killer in particular is not that common. For anybody who is trying to gear their units for Clash of Wills and are struggling to put together, 300% plant killer, against the Arboralis, this could have potentially been useful. Probably not, because most of those units want their own specific things. But for trials or less difficult content where you just need a little bit of plant killer, there you go. Beast killer, it's more common, but plant killer is great to go ahead and grab. And then the hip flask, again, not super super great for a new player. I think this is really good. Anything that's going to give you bonus limit burst damage is pretty good. And then 30 plus 33 attack is not terrible, but it's not the best thing either. But limit burst damage on an accessory is kind of rare. There are a few event items out there that do it, and a few Trustmaster rewards that do it. But this is good. Definitely pick this up for newer players. Once you've gotten those three, you can go ahead and move on to the Omniprism. So I think the Omniprism is fairly, they're fairly rare. You can get these just off of a raid. Once you've cleared out a raid, there's a chance you could get an Omniprism on every raid summon you do. And I got quite a few on the last one, so definitely grab this. They're less valuable than they used to be, just because they're more common now. And you can use this to grab, with your 5-star select tickets, you can use the Omniprism theoretically to wake one up and then just start working on their STMR. You could. This is best used on time limited units, or collabs and things like that. But at this point, we don't even really have that many NVA for collabs, or 7-star units that are that good. So get them, use them. I've been taking a much more lax approach with mine lately, where if I just don't feel like having a units prism, or if I don't have an extra copy and I want to get their STMR, like, I'll just go ahead and use it. Like, I'm at that point. You might not be, but definitely grab this. These Brave insignias is where I would go next after the Omniprism. They're fairly inexpensive to go ahead and grab here, but there are other places you can get this very easily. So get them, but it's not the most important thing. You can get these at any time in the vortex. So I can show you where you can grab those. From there, whatever else you need on an as needed basis. I went ahead and grabbed the Ascension Pearl. I like having them. You can use them for faceted orbs, which is useful. I grabbed the limit burst pots because burst pots are very good to have to max out units. I grabbed the Trust Moogle. I grabbed the big Gill Snapper, the rank XP maps. In fact, I grabbed all the maps. Just whatever. And then eventually, I'm really into hoarding these two, the Forticites, because I hate when I get a new unit that I want to awaken, and I have to go and farm the Forticites in the vortex. I hate that. So I always grab these. Eventually, if you just play the event pretty regularly, use your energy as you get it, you'll be getting enough to get all of this stuff. But one thing that I want to bring up, and this is something that Sharky and I were talking about earlier, so I'm going to bring Sharky up to talk about the next little piece here. Sharky, are you here? You can buy gill turtles, or you can sell the extra collector Moogle currency you have lying around after the event for leftover gill, not to mention things like raid coins. Yes, you can. So if you notice, you have this right here where you can buy Gill Snapper families. You can actually you can buy an unlimited number of these, or if the event runs out and you've got a bunch of leftover currency, like right now I've got 19,919. If the event ended today, and I had all that left over, I could just go and sell it for Gill after the fact. You don't have to use this all, but this is your only chance to use it on some of these time limited things. So if all you care about is Gill, I do not care about Gill that much. You could just sell this later or buy the turtles. The exchange rate, I believe, is pretty much the same whether you buy these turtles or not. But yeah, you can definitely just go in and sell it for Gill after the fact. But don't miss out on an opportunity to grab things you can get for free. So I could buy these with currency, or I could buy them with Gill in the special shop. In the at the bottom of the screen when you're looking at the menu. So a lot of this stuff you can just get for Gill, these awakening materials and stuff like that. But don't miss out on the Forticites and stuff if you have the leftover currency. If you're just interested in Gill, just sell it later. Don't worry about it. But this is the stuff at the top. I would definitely get all of this. Very good stuff to grab. So let's talk a little bit then about those tickets. Go ahead and get Sharky out of here. So we talked about how there's those tickets, right? And I used mine on Cleone, but let's take a look at the list of units that are actually available in the exchange, and then take a look and see what you think you might be able to get some benefit out of. You're going to get to this by going to the exchange shop, and it's all the way at the bottom, right? Ticket exchange. So all of these units are units that you can also get potentially with 5-star select summon tickets. So some of these are better than others to go ahead and grab. Eileen is potentially good. She's got her STMR, which is her goggles. You can't see it right here, but her STMR is pretty good for some killers that it can add. So it's a kind of a good one to pick up. Summer, Fina, and Lid are a very good unit just to have if you are in need of a good like breaker and imperiler and kind of all around healer for trials and stuff. She's decent, but also has a really good Super Trustmaster reward. Beach Girls, I believe, is pretty good if it's the one that I'm thinking of. Decent, very good, because it gives resistances, and resistances are very, very strong. I would not worry about Eurisha, although I have used Eurisha in some runs and clears and things, but does have a very good Trustmaster reward and Super Trustmaster reward, but really good for certain things. But I wouldn't worry about this one because you can. Maybe you can't do it. Let's see if you can still do it. Some of these are available if you go to the special shop, just for EX coins, or not EX coins. Yeah, EX coins. So you can get like Sea Card, Veritas of the Dark, Pyroglacial Laswell, Reagan, Ignis, Conchira. You can get all of these. So don't worry. If you're just trying to awaken these units and not worry about their STMR, buy the fragments here. Don't worry about buying them from those tickets just to exchange them. And let's go back to it. It's in the shop. Focus on STMRs that are going to give you either killers or unique effects or resistances. I've talked about that, and I've preached that a lot. Infernal Rain, for example, his STMR gives Beast Killer on a chest piece, which is pretty decent. Yeah. But like I said, and Daisy's STMR is super good for tanks. Especially tanks that wear a shield, so that's very, very good. Another good one would be Fina and Dark Fina's double Catharsis is decent. It does give some good light and dark resist, so that's not terrible. Of those, though, those are kind of the ones I would focus on. Anything with killers. I'm a huge fan of anything with killers. So, yeah. There's that. That's how I would recommend using those. And then in the event, there's a very kind of far into the event. There's a ticket that you can get that looks very similar to those exchange tickets, and it's for this. It's not even here anymore. I already used it. Oh no, yeah, here. NB ticket, summon a destined duty. You get this for playing long into the event, and you did get a guaranteed Neo Vision unit, which is pretty cool. I got Mazurka. My very first ever Mazurka, so that was kind of neat. So yeah, but that's different. It looks the same, but it's different, so don't get confused about that. So that's really going to be pretty much it for what I wanted to talk about in terms of like content for this. What I want to do though is take just a moment and recognize, thankfully, that this is the 20th video in this series, and I want to just say a special shout out to everybody in the group who watches these videos, a special shout out to anybody who was involved in approving me to actually do this for the group, and so I appreciate that. It's been a lot of fun for me to do this, and I'm going to continue doing it. What I would really love to see, and I know this takes people being willing to do it. When I make a video, if you've got comments or questions that you want to see answered, that's going to make it easier to try and keep on making these videos. But I'm happy to keep on doing it the way that I'm doing it, because I'm having fun doing it, looking for questions that people can want answered in maybe a visual format. Over on my YouTube, where I post these videos, I'm also trying to branch out a little bit into doing different kinds of clears and things, and I originally didn't want to do some of that because I don't want to step on anybody's toes, people who already put out really good stuff, and I think in some cases I probably can't do a whole lot better than what they already do, other than just trying to make it from a perspective of like, I am not a player who spends a whole lot in the game, and so I don't like go crazy pulling for every unit. I don't go crazy pulling for every new unit, or even getting those units and maxing them out all the way. So like being able to do clears for players who kind of play like I do is something that I'm kind of interested in trying to do a little bit of. And so if you're interested in that kind of thing, definitely come on over to YouTube, and I'll try and post some of it here as I'm putting these videos together as well. And yeah, for anybody who has come over to YouTube and liked the channel and liked the videos and commented in the videos afterwards, I really appreciate it, just because it helps me kind of stay motivated when someone's like, oh, that's interesting, oh, thank you for that, whatever. I appreciate it. I don't need to be fluffed up, but it is good to see community engagement, which is kind of my whole purpose in this when I first started art was, one, to help newer players, and two, to get people talking and get people thinking, in a positive way about what we can do. My cat is sitting on my sweatshirt. What are you doing? She's invading my space and sitting on my sweatshirt. That's it. I just want to say thank you to the Facebook group for putting up with me putting out these videos for the past 20 weeks. It's been interesting 20 weeks, for sure, and been a lot of fun for me making these videos. It has not felt like a chore at all. Yeah, it's fun to post a video and then come back a few hours later and see if there's any kind of feedback or likes or whatever. It's been a fun process to see some of the engagement that's come on. So I hope it's been helpful. I hope it continues to be helpful. If you have any feedback or questions or whatever, I'm an open book. So please let me know, and we'll see you in the next one. Hopefully with some questions from you all that we can look at together, and try and learn to play the game your way. So with that, have a good one and a pleasant weekend.